All right, take two. Tried filming this, but then I realized I was connected to Bluetooth in my car, so I think part of it cut out. I'm not sure. I'm not going to proof watch it. I'm just going to redo it all when I know that it is good. So basically, here's our retirees for this year. Not all of this stuff, but a lot of it back here, or some of it back here. A lot of it's actually our spares that we still use, but everything that's painted over, like that one, 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 you know, all the ones that are painted over are our retirees, or I know they're retired, but I'm not sure when they're going to be sold or if they're going to be sold. So figured I'd go over them while we have them back here. But I actually started the first one down there and came this way, but this one I'm just going to start here. So here we've got 733. No, they're not pulling a bus around. I thought they were. 733. This is a 2011 Thomas C2. This one actually got replaced by my old route bus that I rode to school, 781. When 833 came in, they gave 833 to 781's route and gave 781 to 733's route. So, because my bus driver had a lot of seniority, he is now since retired. But that bus is still on that route, 833 and 781, still on those routes as far as I'm aware. But yeah, we got this one. I'm not going to go over the mileage and stuff and all these just because I don't want to have to turn on the battery switches and I might forget. But blue seats, gray floor, smells like an old Thomas in here, and I love it. I do like the way old buses smell. Each manufacturer has their own scent. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But, I mean, it just, I don't know what it is. They just all smell a little different. I think it's really cool. But, coming 6.7, pre-DEF. All of these are pre-DEF. And all of these, except for that one, have Allison 3000s in them. So, here's the switches over here. And over here. So, there's that. And there's that. So, if you want more detailed pictures or anything of these, I have pictures of all these on Flickr. So, we can't really get behind 733 back there, but 732 is also back here. We'll go over that one. So we'll see it there. Essentially, just imagine it says 733 instead of 732 because they're sisters. So right here we got 718. This is the only lift bus that we've got. Sounds like they're brand cars or something around here, but there's one person here and he might lock me in, but that's okay. I still have a key to get out. Anyways, there's two lift buses back here, but this is the only C2. So 718 is the 2009 model with the Mercedes, and then Allison 2500 or 2000, but I think it's 2500. So and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but these should be up on public surplus at some point. Or they're getting EPA grant scrapped. I don't know. I've heard two stories on them. There is that. But I figured I'd show all these off before they were gone, one way or another. Gray seats, our 09s and our 2013s have gray seats, and then the two 07 lift buses that we used to have had gray seats. The rest of them have blue, so kind of cool. A neat way to tell some of these apart from the inside. The tracks come all the way up to here on this side. Window, or I guess the 5th row. And on this side, goes up to the 4th row from the back because got the lift in the way. But air conditioned because it's a special needs bus. Here's the switches. There's the air conditioning. And there's the switches. I drove a sister to this one on a route for a few days. When I first started, they had me on 815 as a sub bus or as a sub driver long term, and the AC quit working in 815, so they put me in 720, which has since been retired. I think I was the last one to actually drive it on a route. I think they used it later that summer for something, but on a regular school route, I was the last one to drive it. Here we got 734, 2011 Thomas HDX. Again, Allison 3000 in this one. We'll come around back here and look at the Cummins ISC. I think these are either 8.9 or 9 liters, something like that. Oh, look. Top the engine, see if there's a tag. I don't see one there. There's one somewhere, but I'm just not going to hunt for it very hard, at least. Somebody could tell me in the comments how big the ISC is as far as the displacement. But there we go. This one was replaced with a 2024, so it was not a spare for very long. Maybe about 2 years. I saw it used as a spare a few times, but let's see. Not the driver who had it last, but the driver who had it before him, she ended up passing away probably a year and a half, maybe 2.5 years ago. So there used to be a magnet on the side kind of commemorating her, but I think the driver that got the 2024 took it off and put it on his new bus. I'm not sure though. I think, well, no, I haven't seen it on there because he parks right beside me, so there's that. But I think somebody made him take it off at some point. Blue seats, gray floor. We will take a look at the data tag up here. I'm going to try to remember to do this on all the buses. And there's the switches. And all these buses are in pretty good shape. I want to say most of these, if not all of these, have less than 200,000 miles. I would say a lot of these Transits probably have less than 160 on them. This one is just shy of 200,000. It's like 192 or 193, I think. I was the only one to drive this within the last 2 years it was in service. I drove it once last school year. Well, not this one that just ended, but the one before that. It was retired for this entire last school year. I was the only one to drive it that school year, and I drove it once the school year before, and I was the only one to ever take it out on the road those 2 years. I was the only one who liked this bus, and we've talked about this one before. Of course, this is 715. Our last full-size 09. This is one of my favorite batches of C2s that we ever got, just because they're fun to drive. Good buses, good running buses. Just a lot of stuff that I liked about this one. I actually did a tour video on this one. I'll try to link all the tour videos I can remember that I've done in the description. I like the engine brake switch in these where it's just, you know, it sticks up. It's not one of these little rocker switches like that. It actually sticks up. So if you're driving, just, oh crap, I got to use that engine brake. Boop. It's not a, oh, where's that? It's a, just flick it real quick and it works. Here's the switches. This one, I think all of these have air horns on them. I'm not sure. I think they removed the air horn switch on this one, though. Yeah, I think they removed the air horn switch on this one. There's that. This one, I really wouldn't mind adding to the collection, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm not really a fan of C2s as far as, I mean, I drive one every day for work, so I don't really want to drive one for leisure. It'd just be too hard to get insured. I don't want to have to wait until 2034, you know, another 9 years before I can get this, you know, registered historically. And speaking from experience, registering one as a school bus, or I should say insuring one as a school bus instead of insuring it historically, that is a pain in the butt. Another story here, that driver, he recently, within the last couple years, moved out of state, and he also passed away about a month ago. He was a good dude. I liked him a lot. I mean, I didn't talk to him much, but the conversations I did have with him, I really enjoyed. So that one was very unfortunate, but it is part of life. But here's the back of old 715 here. This one also, another reason why I don't think I'll get it is because last time I drove it, it was throwing a check engine light and derating on me. So I think the EGR, there's something going bad with the EGR. It either needs cleaned or replaced, and I don't have the time, the money, or the energy to do that. So, or the resources in general to do that. So it's better off just going down the road to somebody else, I think. If it stays cheap, maybe, but I don't think it will, knowing how much our buses typically go for. Anyways, here's 732. We talked about 733 in the beginning. Here's 732, another 2011. The reason I'm actually here today is because I was doing a field trip, a summer trip, a football trip. I took 858, which is the bus that replaced this. I don't even know if this was actually used as a spare. They put 858 on the road at the beginning of the school year, and this one sat up front on the spare line. They took the radio out of it when some of the newer buses started to come in, because that's how we do it. We take the radios out of the old buses and put them in the new ones. Ooh, that's a good picture. Sorry, I had to grab that picture real quick. But maybe I'll use that for the thumbnail. But anyways, they took the radio out of this one, never used it again. So they say, the mechanics, every time I'm back there, they're like, oh, do you want another bus? I'm like, maybe. And like, you should buy 732. It's got an oil leak, but man, that thing's a good runner. It's a good bus. It's pulled right off a route and retired. So it was never used as a spare, as far as I know. May have been once or twice, but you know, c'est la vie. It's not. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better situation. And I know it's low miles. I think it's only got like 130 something, 120 something, 130 something thousand. So blue seats, gray floor, 6.7 Cummins. I think whenever this came in, it looks like it had a full-size seat back here, and they had to change it because 733, when I was just on it, I looked and it did not have that. But just a funny thing how, you know, two sister buses can be different. No two buses are ever built the same. But anyways, good bus. 6.7 Cummins, Allison 3000, 77 passenger. All of these full-size conventionals are 77 passengers. The HDXs are 84s, and the special needs buses have 60 passenger bodies, but typically the seating, the setup changes depending on whether that route has a wheelchair or not. So count the seats in the photos or the videos, I guess. But there's the switches. There's the build sticker. I'm actually going to do a separate video on this one, basically just pretty much just the same as what I just went over, because I did a video on 858 just now before I parked it. Actually, I'll go back and clean it. I thought I didn't leave any cleaning supplies in 819, but turns out I did, so I'm going to go use those to clean it because it was left a little bit messy. But 724. So this one has a sister back here. We'll get to it. 721. They're actually different model years, but they are sisters. So this one's a 2010. This is replaced with 834, a 2022 C2. So these two back here that are sisters, 721, 724, were replaced with 2022s. The other two, 722, 723, were replaced with 2020s, like 819, 822, and 823. So I think these just had lower mileage on them. And the way they gave those first AC buses out was just different. And these didn't get new buses at that time because of that. But crunchy sounding steps. I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, those steps are a little crunchy. But, I mean, still solid. They're just a little crunchy whenever you step on them. I mean, I'm not getting any commission or anything out of this. I just like to show them how they are. And I know you all like seeing this, but blue seats, gray floor, just like almost all of our Thomases now, except for the 2013s. It's like probably 90% of our Thomases, 90% of our fleet. Over 90%, I would say. And, you know, the remaining 09 handy buses. I'm not sure. That looks like insulation of some sort. But this one, pretty low mileage, which is why, one of the reasons why it was replaced with 2022 and not a 2020. But, don't think I showed the switches off. Pretty much the same across the board as far as a lot of these are concerned. But, I do have detailed pictures of all of these, like I've mentioned before. I drove this one across the parking lot once, and that was about it, because I needed to move it out of the way. But I haven't... No, that was it. I haven't actually taken it out on the road and really driven it, gotten it up to speed or anything. 732 I've not driven. 715, of course, I have. 734, no. 733, yes. 718, no. 685, our next one. I don't know if this one is getting sold if it's getting scrapped. I really don't know if any of these are getting sold or getting scrapped. This one especially, because it was the maintenance bus, not used by our transportation department, but the actual school district's maintenance department after it was retired. And they pulled this one, I think, for 2 reasons, assuming. One of them I'm pretty confident on is the fact that it's got air conditioning. The other one being that it's international. I don't think they really care for these Freightliners down at the maintenance department. They've got a lot of internationals. They got Freightliners now, but they're all Cummins. They're not Mercedes. So we don't have any old enough yet, special needs buses that are Cummins powered, old enough yet to retire, as far as I'm aware. Oh, I didn't show the back 724 back here. Yeah, so 685. This one's an 04, basically just 681, but special needs bus. A couple differences, like the air conditioning and the fact that it's a special needs bus. So, I mean, those 2 major differences. There's little bullet points under the special needs bus portion, meaning that it's shorter, got a wheelchair lift, an Allison 2000. And that's also why it's got the air conditioning. This is the only Bluebird, as far as I'm aware, that we had ever that had air conditioning. So, unless we decide to get more, but I doubt that's ever going to happen. I think we're pretty gung-ho on Club Tommy, but the homeless people got in this one. I think I'm pretty sure I did a video on this one comparing it with 147, talking about selling 147 by this one. Oh, they are backing a bus out somewhere, but anyways, this one is trashed, and you can see, looks like the floor is coming up back here, so that's no fun. So it needs some work, but ouch, smashed my finger. They stole all the wiring out of the wheelchair lift here. There's cigarette butts. There was a beer can on here somewhere. They parked this downtown, and I'm pretty sure they left it unlocked. See, there's blue ice. They dumped the trash can. It's got an air horn on it, no air in it, so won't do anything. But same one, basically, that I've got for 23 that I need to install. Here's the switches. They also tried getting in down there. This one, with it being a 3800, we can actually look at the mileage, 196,003. Nothing in there. But yeah, looks like a pretty neat little bus. Be a good project for Project 681. So if I were to get any of these, this would be the one that I aim for, since, you know, it's an air-conditioned Bluebird International. No, it doesn't have a 3060 in it, but other than that, I mean, I'd be very content with it. Allison 2000 is still a very good, robust transmission, so I'm not disappointed with that. You can see this one last ran, or was last inspected 2017, 2018, so I think it actually ran 2018, 2019 as a spare, but been used by the maintenance department a couple years after that, and it's been parked ever since I've been here, so 4 years almost has been parked, essentially. They moved it around a couple times, but I don't think they ever used it since I've been working here. That one was replaced with 790, a 2016, which ironically now those 2016s are our oldest full-time routed special needs buses, which is weird to think about because I was in 10th grade whenever those were brand new, or 9th grade. These aren't retired, but 721 right here is. So I talked about 724 and 721 being sisters, but them being different model years. This one's a 2009. So from what I was told, this was the first one of the batch to come in. It came in a few months before the rest of them, and it was built, I think, built a few months before the other ones. September of 08. We'll go back to look at 724 after we're done here, if I remember. But, I mean, it's identical. 6.7 Cummins, Allison 3000, pre-DEF. This one I drove a couple times. Once whenever I was on 756 and once when I was on 799. So I've had it on a country route. I've had it on a city route. I liked it. It was all right. Not really my favorite, but, I mean, it was a good runner. I really did like it. This one was replaced with 837, a 2022 Thomas C2. And they've actually done away with the route that this one was originally on. They've been cutting back and, you know, cutting routes, relocating drivers, trying to save some money. So the original route this one was on was actually cut. But that's part of life. So this one was September of 08. $724. I thought I keep on hearing somebody. I think it's a lawnmower or a four-wheeler or something over there across the fence because there's houses back there. September of 08 versus December of 08. So sometime in between then they changed the model year over at Thomas. Not sure why that one was built before its sisters were. But yeah, just something interesting, I guess. The VINs are actually different. That's why I could tell this one's an 09 and that one's a 2010. Now the rest of these are just spares back here, the ones that aren't painted over. But the ones up front where the spares normally are the summer trip buses, which are all air-conditioned buses. And, you know, you just grab one out from over there. They tell you which one to grab, whatever. But all these back here are spares. 741, I'm surprised they didn't retire that one. That one's got somewhere right around 200,000 miles on it. So they've got their money's worth out of it. Definitely a lawnmower, I heard. But 735, there's actually a story behind this one we'll get to here in a moment. This side's too narrow to actually go down, but pretty much the same as all the other HDXs. This one I know, been in a few accidents. One of them was my fault. That's why that is newer. You can see the paint there is newer than that. The mirror has been replaced, and that's actually after I broke it. So that mirror's been broken at least 3 times, and that was the second. So I wasn't the first to do it, and I wasn't the last to do it. I'll get to that here in a moment. This has been redone. I'm surprised they even redid it. It was a couple years ago. Driver's making a wide turn, and a car tried to rush past him on the right, and he ended up turning into them. So I don't know whose fault that ended up being, but it sounded like a little bit of both. That driver doesn't work with us anymore, so I can tell that story. I didn't witness it, but I went by soon after it happened. So Cummins ISC, just like 734, because they are sisters. They are sister buses. This one is a 2011. Of course, ISC Allison 3000, 84 passenger. Get up in here. Sorry this video is taking so long, just a lot to go over here. We're almost done though. I have one more after this and then we'll be done. There's the switches. Here's the rest of it. Amber switches over here on these older HDXs, anything 2015 and older. But here we go. Blue seats, gray floor, 28 seats, meaning that it is an 84 passenger. So, come up here. This one's, I'll tell you the story after we look at this real quick. There's that. So basically how I broke that mirror, there was a turn that I was making, a left turn, and it was like an acute angle. This seat's kind of squeaky, so sorry if that bothers you, but I was making an acute left turn. So basically if I was like turning out of there, turning this way and going straight, but this portion right here was uphill. There was a car in the turn lane trying to go left, so like coming towards me right now, not me over there, but basically I was trying to beat a yellow light, make that left turn. I was looking in this mirror, and then wha-bam, that mirror hit a telephone pole. It went boop, and then it drooped. So had to finish that middle school route, pick the rest of those kids up that I could, and then somebody else covered the elementary. That was back whenever it was my first time ever driving kids on a route. So I was already stressed. I'd never really done it before with kids on the bus, and you have to ride with a driver for the first day. So the driver was sitting right there. He doesn't work with us anymore either. Different driver, also different route. But this was put on the half-day route after it was taken off of that route that my accident happened on. The half-day route was whenever the other accident happened. But anyways, he was rushing me the entire time, and I was always, whenever I was trained, I was told, don't rush. You'll get there when you get there. Do it safely. So that's what I was doing. He's like, whoa, you're 5 minutes late. Oh, you're 10 minutes late. Come on, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, ah, crap. I shouldn't have let him get to me. But I did. And it resulted in Cabell County having to pay X amount of dollars to get that whole panel replaced and get this whole mirror replaced, because it did dent that panel, but the reason why they had to replace it all was because there was a pin or something in there that sheared off, and I mean, it was just irreparable, so they had to replace it all. Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but stuff like that unfortunately does happen. So the difference between the 2011s and the 2010 HDXs are that these have the LED turn signals up here and these have incandescent. So just something neat that I noticed. There's probably other differences, but that's just the one that I've noticed. So that brings us to our last one, 726 2010 Thomas HDX, Cummins ISC, Allison 3000, 84 passenger. I drove this one once. I drove this one's route a few times, 735. I drove its route a few times. They took 735 off of its route, made it a spare, and they put 775 on that route and gave 775's route 835, a 2022 C2, because at that time that driver was a trainer. They wanted him to have a bus that had air conditioning to try and convince people to stay, because school bus driver shortage hit here too. So also with these, the smaller brake lights are incandescent, but that's the history on that one. I don't know what it replaced, but this one was replaced by a 2021 Thomas HDX 827 back in 2020, and it was a sub until the beginning of this school year. I know it was used at the beginning of the year, and I think it was parked after that. So it's been sitting for most of the year. Pretty sure it's been sitting back here for most of the year. Don't really remember. I've been gone from up here for a while. I parked $7.99 up here, but $8.19 I park at a different location, so much closer to home. But so I'm not up here as often as I used to be. I can't really keep up with everything as well as I used to, but that's okay. It's worth it for the gas savings and the ease of not feeling like I'm being watched by every other driver here, because people here do talk. I mean, people everywhere talk, but there's a lot less people where I park now versus when I parked here. Not that anybody ever really told on me, but still, I just like having a closer knit family of coworkers instead of a more broad. Everybody knows each other here, but I mean, whenever you're around certain people every day, talking to them instead of just seeing them in passing, you know, you get a better rapport with them. Here's the information there. Here's the switch panel. But anyways, I drove this one once before I went off on my tangent. I drove this one once when I was training, and I really liked the way it drove. This is the first HDX I ever drove. If I were to add one to the collection, it would be this one. But I don't like HDXs enough to actually want one to keep. If I was going to get a Transit, I'd get a Bluebird All-American. So I think this one is neat. I really do like it. I hate to see it go. I would never have driven it anyways, because it is a Transit without air conditioning, and the only times I really get to drive Transits now are in the summers. We have one specific place that pretty much has a bus assigned to them, because they go every day pretty much, and they have a Transit because they have that many kids. So that's really the only time I get to drive Transits anymore, but that's okay. So I'd never really get to drive this one anyways. I just like seeing it around still. I like seeing the older buses. I rode this one a lot for marching band. I shouldn't say a lot. I probably rode it a couple times when I was in marching band, because it was still on a route back then. But anyways, we started all the way down there, and we've worked our way all. So this video is almost 30 minutes long, but there was a lot to go over. Here's a pretty good view of most of our spares, not all of them, because like 759 right there is a spare, 770 is a spare, 717 down there is a spare. You know, not all of the spares are back here, but a lot of them are. Probably about half of them. So just something I thought that I would show off, the retired buses. Hate to see them go, but you know, it is the life cycle of a school bus, and people have been asking about the CRV. CRV's good most of the way there. It's fixed most of the way. Still has some issues that need addressed, but it's good enough for now. Save some money and get it fixed. I sold my Ranger, so maybe that'll go. I think it's gonna go towards car payment actually, but I might put it towards getting it fixed all the way. I think it needs control arms. Anyways, that's a different video for a different day, but I appreciate you all watching. Peace out.